This is Barry Zalma speaking for Claim School Incorporated's blog, Zalma on Insurance. Today we're going to consider why a criminal who tried to get out of his sentence for killing someone in a traffic collision and admitting to insurance fraud tried to get out of his sentence and failed to obtain any post-conviction relief. And if you lie about who was driving at the time someone is killed in an auto accident, you really belong in jail. Robert Sitler appealed from the order that dismissed his petition filed pursuant to the Post-Conviction Relief Act, the PCRA. A jury found him guilty of homicide by vehicle, and the trial court, sitting without a jury, affirmed and found him guilty of further crimes. In the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus Robert Sitler, the Superior Court of Pennsylvania on April 11, 2024, acting as an appellate court, refused to provide relief to Mr. Sitler. On November 12, 2012, just before 9 p.m., Sitler was driving his truck along a two-lane road with a center turning lane. His girlfriend, Denise Dinnocenti, and her children were passengers in the truck. Sitler was driving Dinnocenti to a dance rehearsal which started at 9 p.m. Sitler was driving his truck along a two-lane road with a center turning lane. His girlfriend, Denise Dinnocenti, and her children were passengers in the truck. Sitler was driving Dinnocenti to a dance rehearsal which started at 9 p.m. Regina Qawasmy was driving in front of Sitler, who was following very closely behind her as she prepared to turn right. She noticed a young man, later identified as 16-year-old Timothy Paciello, standing in the center lane waiting to cross the street. Prior to turning, Qawasmy began to decrease her speed. Suddenly, Qawasmy heard the revving of an engine and then saw a flash, which she later learned was Paciello flying into the air. According to Dinnocenti, Sitler, while driving behind Qawasmy, sped around Qawasmy on the left and into the center lane, going 50 miles an hour in a 35-mile-an-hour zone. Sitler did not see Paciello in the lane and, as a result, struck him with his truck. After striking Paciello, Sitler pulled into a nearby parking lot. He handed his keys over to Dinnocenti and instructed her and her children to tell the police she was driving. When the police arrived, Dinnocenti did as Sitler had said and told them that she was driving, and at the scene and in a later written statement, Sitler likewise claimed that Dinnocenti was driving. The fraud failed because the police later recovered surveillance footage from a Sunoco gas station across the street from the accident. The footage showed Paciello walking into the center lane and then out of sight of the video. A few moments later, Sitler's truck is seen speeding down the center lane. Officer Matthew Meitzler informed Dinnocenti that there was footage of the accident, and eventually both Dinnocenti and Sitler admitted that he was driving the vehicle. The case then proceeded to a 3-day trial, after which Sitler was convicted. He was sentenced to an aggregate term of 8 1/2 to 17 years incarceration, and in addition, on the first day of trial, Sitler entered an open guilty plea to insurance fraud, conspiracy to commit insurance fraud, false reports to law enforcement, and other charges relating to the false statements about who was driving. At trial, the court informed the jury about his prior vehicular manslaughter conviction. Sitler claimed that the lower court erred by denying relief on his claim that his trial counsel provided ineffective assistance by not objecting to the jury instruction offered by the lower court prior to admission of his prior manslaughter conviction. He asserts that the trial counsel consulted with an accident reconstruction expert, but he ran out of funds by the time the trial was able to afford the services of the rebuttal witness. The PCRA court properly denied Sitler's claim for lack of prejudice because Sitler failed to demonstrate a reasonable probability that a request for funds to retain an accident reconstruction expert as a rebuttal witness would have changed the result of his trial. The proffer may have been sufficient for proving that trial counsel's failure to request indigent funding deprived him of a rebuttal witness, but it did nothing to advance Sitler's burden to demonstrate that he was prejudiced by trial counsel's failure to pursue funds for an expert rebuttal witness. The appellate court agreed with the PCRA court that there was overwhelming evidence of appellant's guilt and that appellant Sitler was unable to show prejudice by demonstrating that a successful petition for rebuttal expert funds would have resulted in a different trial verdict. For the foregoing reasons, the appellate court concluded that the PCRA court did not err or abuse its discretion in dismissing appellant's post-conviction petition without a hearing. In my opinion, Mr. Sitler caused the death of a teenager by driving around a car ahead of him because he was in a hurry, apparently, struck and killed a teenage pedestrian, caused his girlfriend to lie and her children to lie to the police about who was driving, and admitted to insurance fraud and multiple other crimes relating to the manslaughter, only to have a jury convict him of the death of the teenager. He tried to reduce his sentence with claims of a poor defense lawyer and lack of funds. The court didn't buy his arguments, and he will, thankfully for pedestrians everywhere, stay in jail for his term. This video was adapted from my blog, Zelma on Insurance, which is available free to anyone who clicks on the URL zelma.com/blog. You can subscribe to the blog, and you will receive notice of every blog posting, usually 5, sometimes 6 a week. And you'll gain access to the more than 4,750 blog postings. You can also subscribe to these videos at YouTube and or rumble.com. And if you do, I'd appreciate it if you click on the like button on YouTube and the thumbs up button on rumble.com. Please tell your friends and colleagues about the blog and the videos, and let them also subscribe. And if you're interested in further detail about insurance, insurance claims, insurance fraud, and insurance law, please consider for a very small fee subscribing to my Substack publication. Thank you for your attention.